Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 214. My name's Adam Patterson. Joining me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. How you doing there, Kevin?
I'm doing pretty good.
This week on the show, we'll be talking about Dogtooth director Yorgos Lanthimos' latest, The Lobster, along with the newly released martial arts action film Killzone 2, or SPL2 as it was called internationally.
Time for consequences.
Time for consequences. I love that subtitle.
I love all subtitles. They're all great.
That one's particularly good, though. Time for consequences. Sounds like a parent. Sounds like a parent talking to their child who just got in trouble for doing something. We'll also be talking about some other stuff we've been watching in the watch list, movie predictions, new on video on demand, Blu-ray releases. Got a couple bits of news. It was kind of scrounging things together last minute, so I'm sure that I missed a couple things this week, but hey, we're gonna roll with it. Got some casting news here. The Blade Runner sequel.
Okay.
That's gonna be directed by Denis Villeneuve. It's gonna be they're adding Carla Yuri to that list. Now, does that name ring a bell to you? Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
No.
She was the star of Wetlands.
Oh,
The German film that I was a big fan of a couple years, or I guess technically it came out last year.
Okay.
But pretty excited for that. I mean, that's shaping up to be an interesting movie. I'm very curious to see what they do with that.
It's shaping up to be better than the original, I think.
Maybe, I don't know.
It wouldn't take that much.
Here's the thing. If they get the look down, I'll be happy. As long as it has a similar look to the original, but a better story, I'm in. Because I'm with you. I don't like Blade Runner. I never have. I've watched it probably 3 times in my life, and every single time I have to stop it because I fall asleep. I don't know what it is about that movie, but it puts me to sleep.
You have trouble staying awake for a lot of films.
Well, if a movie doesn't hold my attention, I'm out.
Apparently you need to catch up on a shit ton of sleep.
I think it's just that I'm getting old. Actually, no, that would happen to me even when I was younger. Attempting to watch Blade Runner. The same
You've
thing.
always got sleep on your mind. It's just like, it's time to get some sleep.
The same thing happened when I tried to watch the Matrix sequel, the second one. I don't know. I don't know what the subtitle of that one was, Revolution or whatever. I tried to watch that like 3 times, and all 3 attempts resulted in me falling asleep.
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know if I've ever fallen asleep during a movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, maybe like once or twice.
It's probably just because, like, I watch movies all the time, and I'll just put them on whenever. Like, it's not like a thing where I prepare for it and plan for it and sit down.
Yeah.
Like, I just put them on. Even if even if I'm feeling tired and it's late at night, I'll just put one on.
See, I think I recognize it early.
Yeah.
Like, I'm falling asleep.
Yeah.
Fuck this. Turn it off. I'm going to bed. Don't want to miss anything. And then sometimes, like, if the movie's not holding my interest, I just don't go back to it. Just like, that was a wasted hour.
I do that. I do that sometimes. Usually I try to stick it through, but we've got, let's see, some more casting news. Michael B. Jordan joins Black Panther.
Oh, boy.
So he's reuniting with Ryan Coogler for some Black Panther action. His role hasn't been revealed yet, but it's I believe that he's going to be a villain. It's largely speculated that he's going to play some sort of villain, so that could be cool. That movie's shaping up to be pretty awesome too, especially because after seeing the character in action in Civil War, I'm definitely interested in it now.
You're all in. Yeah, that one does seem interesting.
I think it'll be good.
I hope so.
I'm sure it will be. At this point with Marvel movies, I'm beyond the cautiously optimistic area. I'm just in.
Did you wander into fanboy territory?
I don't.
Have you set up camp?
Nah,
Pitched a
I
tent?
don't think
Fanboy.
so. I wouldn't call
Okay.
myself a fanboy just yet. I mean, it would take a lot. I think it takes a lot to become a fanboy of something. Like you got to have, posters and figurines, and you got to really get in there. You got to have like all of them on Blu-ray and know everything, know all the ins and outs.
So you're not
I'm
you're not
not.
attacking people on Twitter yet.
No.
That are.
Oh God. Oh God, no. That it will never. It will never get to that level.
You got too much sleep to catch up on.
Apparently. The next film by Yorgos Lanthimos has been announced. So keeping in the theme of this week's show, or part of the theme at least. His next movie is going to be called The Killing of a Sacred Deer,
Okay.
and it's going to star Colin Farrell.
Nice.
Yeah, much like The Lobster. So, not a whole lot known about this, but it's going to be a tragedy that is about a charismatic surgeon and a teenage boy who seeks to integrate him into his broken family. But when the boy's actions become increasingly sinister, the surgeon's ideal life starts to fall apart, and he's forced to make an unthinkable sacrifice.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's going to be pretty heavy.
Oh boy.
But again, all in. And then I just have some trailers. Just some trailers to talk about this week.
Hit me. What trailers you got?
Inferno. This is the third Da Vinci Code movie with Tom Hanks.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I haven't watched this trailer because I saw the first two Da Vinci Code movies and I could not stand them. So.
I didn't know that Da Vinci Code was still a thing.
Apparently it is. I like the idea. I mean, I'm playing through Uncharted 4, which as a result, I only have one movie on my watch list this week. So, I like the idea of adventuring and finding clues and like learning about ancient civilizations and history and stuff like that. I like all of those types of things, but for some reason, I don't like the Da Vinci Code movies, and I don't like the National Treasure movies.
I haven't watched either.
I think it's more that they're just not very good. I think that the thematic elements are there, but I just don't think they're very good.
No, they don't look good.
No.
I was never enticed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're just meh. The Da Vinci Code ones are meh. The National Treasure ones I actively think are bad. Like I think those are objectively bad movies. Woody Allen's next film, Cafe Society, got a trailer.
Oh boy,
I'm into this.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I haven't seen it.
The Woody Allen movies, I mean, he comes out with at least one every year, and I would say maybe every other one or every two piques my interest. But the funny thing is, the ones that do pique my interest and that I do see, oftentimes I love them. So this one I'm really interested in. It takes place in the 30s, and it jumps between New York and L.A. in the 30s, and stars Jesse Eisenberg. There's a huge cast in this, as with most of his movies these days, and it looks good.
Okay, all right, I'll watch it. Don't
Breathe got a trailer. This is the new one from Fede Alvarez, the guy who directed the Evil Dead remake, and this one looks good. This one is it's basically the opposite of that Hush movie. So it's about three people who decide to, I guess they need money for something, and they decide to break into the home of this blind man who they heard a rumor that he's worth he has $300,000 stashed away in his house, and he's blind. So they decide to break into his house and steal it, but it turns out that he's like a crazy psycho killer or something.
Oh boy. Oh man.
So it's them trying to escape his house, the house of this blind man, as he kind of tries to hunt them down. It looks
he's got this heightened senses.
Yeah.
Oh man. Good luck, guys.
The trailer was intense for this one. I'm actually really excited for this. It was a really good trailer. So that one's definitely one to keep an eye out for. Don't Breathe. Assassin's Creed.
Hey, I saw that one.
This is the
I saw a trailer.
This is probably the biggie for this week. Assassin's Creed got its first trailer. It's the one with Michael Fassbender, Marion Cotillard, directed by, is it Justin Kurzel?
Justin
Kurzel, who did Macbeth. Now, what did you think of this? What did you think of the trailer?
It looks pretty cool. I'm still not 100% sold on it, but
same here.
It's it looks interesting.
It looks like I read something that said that they only loosely adapted the game, but judging from the trailer, it looked a lot like the game. Like just the way that they moved and the parkour type stuff.
Yeah.
It looked a lot like the game, and the way that the future parts looked when before he enters the Animus.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff looked very similar to the game.
Which I didn't know that was part of the game.
Oh, that it takes place in the future?
Yeah, when I start doing, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people, because they never really focus on it. It's just like in the beginning, and then different parts of the game take you back to the future. But so a lot of people that aren't familiar with the game don't realize that everything in the movie is basically in memories. It's like playing out memories. It's like VR, basically.
Yeah, I was just like, that's a weird thing to add to this movie. And then I found out that it's like, oh no, that they didn't add that. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this game, apparently.
Well, I'm sure the movie will fill you in.
What's her name looks really badass in this movie. Ariane Lebed.
Mm-hmm. She's the other assassin, right?
Yeah. Looks good. It should at least be visually interesting.
Yeah, the visuals definitely look strong. So I'm hoping that this is going to finally break that damn video game curse, because Ratchet and Clank certainly didn't. All right, that's pretty much all I have. Let's move on. Let's talk about, which one do you want to start with?
Don't matter.
All right. We'll talk about The Lobster since we just mentioned the director. So this is directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. I have a synopsis here. In a dystopian near future, single people, according to the laws of the city, are taken to the hotel where they are obliged to find a romantic partner in 45 days or are transformed into beasts and sent off into the woods. This stars Colin Farrell, Rachel Weisz. I guess, do you want me to start this one off?
Start it off. Get it going.
I was a big fan of The Lobster. This director, I think that he's got such a unique vision for his movies. Like, this movie is so odd. It's just so strange, and this world that he created where people get turned into animals, it's just a weird ass premise, but it totally worked for me. And I completely, like, one of the big things about this movie that you can sort of glean it from the trailer, but it's just how lacking in personality any of these people had, and just how they spoke to one another, where it almost felt like what's that one director? Is it the director that did Pickpocket, where they just kind of speak in like...
Yeah. Robert Bresson.
Yeah. Where they just speak... It almost sounds like everything that they're saying is like prepared, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought that was so funny for some reason. And I liked that style.
Yeah, there's a lot of awkwardness between really everyone. All the interactions.
Yeah. And
they're all kind of monotone.
I thought
really no emotions behind them.
I thought it was funny. I thought that it was extremely awkward, and for me that's a good thing. I like awkward in movies because my life is awkward and I like to relate. I liked the one of the things, and I don't know why this came as a surprise to me, but there are like a number of kind of shocking things that take place in this, like kind of violent things that caught me off guard. Yeah,
there were a couple of, especially everything with the heartless woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That kind of escalates and where that goes.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus. which was it's just such an odd portion of the movie, really.
It was.
So there's so many things to discuss.
Yeah, so basically, just going back, Colin Farrell's his wife leaves him, and he's like, okay, I don't have a partner, so now he has to go to this hotel to try to find a mate. And one of the things that I liked the most about this movie was just the procedures, like how this hotel worked and the things that they did in order to try to match people up. And just how clinical it all was, and how like procedural everything was. I loved seeing the various things that they had to do, like with tying the one hand behind the back, and then
yeah, there's so much thought put into it, which that in of itself makes it pretty captivating on its own. It's just the interest is held just in order to see all the aspects of this world, just to try and just seeing how everything plays out and what the rules are and all of that. I mean, you don't even need anything else. You have that, and that's enough to hold your interest for the entire runtime. But then they add on to it as well. But it's so wonderfully realized. Such attention to detail.
Yeah. Yep. Like all of the the dining room scene, and like the various activities that they do, like the dance, and then the periodic updates, I guess, that they have people give in front of the group.
What their defining characteristic is.
Yeah.
And there's such subtle humor too everywhere. Especially like the dining scene, the fact that they're all facing forward like it's a classroom, and they have to eat alone, but the fact that it's facing the couples on the other side, like they have to watch the couples while they eat.
Yep. But I also love that a lot of this is based around finding these really surface level connections with people. Like there's a guy that Colin Farrell becomes friends with, and all these people at this point are so desperate to find a match because they don't want to get turned into an animal, that he knows that there's this one girl that has nosebleeds, so he forces himself to have nosebleeds around her to like create this false match, and because of that they end up getting married or whatever. And it's a weird concept. One thing I didn't understand was the whole assigning children thing. Like, where did those children come from?
I love how they start talking about it. If you start having arguments and you're not able to work through those arguments, you'll be assigned children, because that usually helps. Because it gives you a distraction. It gives you something else that you have to deal with.
But what I'm wondering is
where do they get? Who has the children?
Is it like permanent, or is that just an exercise?
That's permanent.
It is. Well,
that's permanent. My guess is, but
that's what I thought. But then I was like, maybe it's just temporary until they pass the whatever tests.
But it is like, where are those children coming from? Is there a child farm?
I have no idea. I guess they're. I don't know. Maybe they're orphans, or maybe the children themselves get reassigned to different things. They also didn't at the beginning when he goes and first like checks in at the hotel. They ask him if he's a heterosexual or homosexual, and the funny thing is that he's like trying to think about which one he wants to pick, and then he asks if there's a bisexual option, and there's not, because of procedural issues or something that they had or whatever. And what I was kind of hoping was to see if there were differences between the heterosexual, because the way it was set up, it seemed like it was only for heterosexual couples.
Yeah,
like I didn't see any same-sex couples there, and I was wondering, like, I was just curious if there were different procedures, or maybe they kept those people in a different area.
They're a different wing of the hotel.
Yeah, because some of those things that they go through, I think, would be different for same-sex partners.
I would imagine, yeah.
I wanted, there was so much more I wanted to learn out of this movie.
I know. I wanted to be in this world more and just figure out more of the rules and what happens.
Yeah. So one other thing that they do, in addition to the activities and learning to meeting each other, trying to find their match, they periodically alarms will sound, and they have to go out hunting. And this was another whole thing that was so odd.
And I love the way that they kind of allude to it at the beginning, like when he first gets to his hotel room.
Yeah, the dart gun.
Yeah, he just has a dart gun with darts.
With 12 tranquilizer darts. And then
they just, they look out the window.
And there's just people. Yeah, they did. Didn't. They don't explain it at the beginning, which I thought was great because it adds this level of intrigue, like, because you're already confused and trying to figure out how all this works and what's going on.
Yeah, and they just add another fold to it.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, there's all these seemingly dead people laying on the ground, and you're like, what is that all about? So basically they go out hunting, and they have to find all of the single people that escaped the hotel and are living in the woods like hermits.
That wear ponchos.
What do they call them? Like the loners or something?
Yeah, they're the loners. And then of course they have their whole own set of rules.
Yes, they have their own,
which are I can't decide. I think that they might be worse than the hotel's rules.
They're at least as ridiculous.
Which it got a little.
But they do allow you to masturbate when you're
allowed to masturbate wherever you want. I love how that they use that as an excuse all the time.
Yeah.
Let's masturbate.
Where were you? Oh, I was over by that tree masturbating. Oh my god, the dialogue in this movie is just, I love it. I just love it.
It's so ridiculous. It's just the desperation and the awkwardness and the lengths that people will go. I thought that was the only thing that I kind of thought that I had an issue with, is that the two worlds do kind of go to extremes. Like he's at the far end of the spectrum. Like like the loners, their set of rules didn't really make sense. Like in the hotel, it made sense because you're talking about trying to find love and the lengths that people will go to and the desperation that's in it, and kind of your whatever you want to call it, biological clock or whatever, it's kind of like counting down, and the older you get, the more tense it is, and you're trying harder and everything. Like all that made sense, and it's it's allegory or whatever you want to call it. But the loner stuff didn't. That one has me perplexed a little bit.
Well, within the movie, within the rules of the movie, I think that one of the reasons that they set those rules was to protect the group, to protect each other. Because if two people became a couple, but see, I don't understand why you couldn't just become a couple and still just be with the loners.
Yeah,
probably because they would naturally they would want to leave at that point. Yeah, I don't know. Their rules were a little perplexing.
But it did, and then all of a sudden, like halfway through the film, they add this other layer to it where the loners go in to fuck with the people that are trying to couple.
I loved that.
Which I thought was really interesting, because then you take this whole idea, it's like, oh, I love this person so much, I would do anything. And then they kind of test them on that. Like, do you really? Or are you, like most people, selfish when it comes down to it? Which I thought was very interesting. And then the way they tied that with the ending as well.
Yeah. Yep. I thought that was really interesting too. I liked all that stuff.
And you're right, the dialogue is so great, because when Colin Farrell ends up with the loners and they start developing their, he meets someone, they start developing their own language.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Which is so ridiculous.
Oh
God.
Speaking of Colin Farrell, what did you think of his performance in this?
He was fantastic.
Yep.
He embodied that character so well. It's just the sad.
He's just given up. Like he just gives up.
There's a desperation there, and there's also, I don't know, there's still like a twinge of hope and happiness. It's kind of in there. It's just, there's a small amount. It's just like a speckle.
Yeah.
But he's holding on to that speckle, that someone's going to come along and, latch onto it, and it'll grow into something bigger. And it's just the way that he does it, and a lot of it's just through, the physical comedy too that he brings to it. Like when he has the arm handcuffed behind his back,
The
and I
scene with
love
him
the
taking his trying to take his pants off with that handcuff around his. Oh my god! The fact that they let that play out.
They just
oh my
real
god.
time. They're just like trying to take those pants off.
It was so funny. I loved going back to, so there was this one of the women that he first noticed at the hotel was this woman who everybody repeatedly said she has no emotion. Like she's psychotic, she has no emotion, she hates everything or whatever. And so he goes after her for some reason. And I loved the courting process and how he tried to like be on her level.
Yes, it was fantastic. And I love the way that he sets it up too, the way that he sells it to himself. He's like, it's probably easier to fake not having emotions and to fake having a connection instead of it's just, yeah, you're right. And the way that he and then it essentially just becomes them testing each other.
Yeah, like when the woman tries to kill herself and just his reaction to that to her is just so, oh my god, it was so funny. It was very dark. I mean, this movie does go to some dark places.
Oh, yeah, it definitely gets dark.
But man, it's funny. There's a scene at the end, the very end, that I'm not gonna say what it is, for fear of spoilers, but holy crap. That scene at the very end was so suspenseful without really showing you. Exactly.
He's in that room, and I'm just like, please don't.
Oh my god.
Please don't show me.
I was like on the edge of my seat during that because it was like, for some reason, the way that it was shot, just, oh my god, this. Ooh.
And I just love the way that he ended it too.
Oh yeah.
Because you're not entirely sure what happens there. You have no idea. You don't know what the outcome is.
Yep. So I definitely liked this more than Alps. I liked Alps.
Far better than Alps.
I liked Alps, but I did have some issues with it. This one I thought was far superior. And normally when foreign directors make an English language film, and it's usually their English language debut is usually not the best, but man, I thought this was a really strong English language debut.
Yes, this is definitely one of the better ones of recent memory, because it usually seems like something gets lost in translation. But
a perfect example of that would be that Brigand movie. It felt like they ran the script through Google Translate, that movie.
See, this feels exactly like his movie.
Right, yeah. His voice is still there. Like you can, if you see this and you don't know who directed it, and then afterwards you tell the person, oh, it's the same guy that did Dogtooth. Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. And just there's gonna be a time, because this is also co-written by Artemis Philippou. I have no idea if that's how you correctly say
Probably
that name.
not, but let's go with it.
But I mean, he's written 5 movies now, and good lord, they're all fantastic. He did Dogtooth with him, Alps, that Elle movie that I talked about like last year or the year before, where the guy lived in his car and delivered honey to a guy, and he was narcoleptic. The Lobster and
Chevrolet.
The newest Athena. What's her name?
Athena
Rachel
Sangari.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is just killing it. I have a feeling that in the future we're going to be looking back and talking about this guy as being one of the best writers.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, this movie, it was completely unique in how they translated real life relationships and emotion and love into this strange, I don't know, like if it's like science fiction or what you want to call it, but just the concept of, if you don't find a mate, you turn into an animal and you get thrown into the woods. And you can pick your animal, and it can be anything.
It is. And I just love the way that they pointed out how there's a shit ton of dogs.
Yeah.
Because everyone picks
dogs. I loved the fact that in all of the scenes in the forest, there's always animals, just random animals walking around. there's like peacocks, flamingos, there's a camel in one scene, lots of dogs.
It was fantastic. Just loved it. There's just, like, is there really anything out right now? Is anyone working in kind of the same niche? You know what I mean? Like, there's really, you can't think of any films like this.
I actually got kind of, no, I would say not, but I think that I got a Her vibe out of this.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
I mean,
just with a completely devoid of brightness.
Yeah, I think like
color.
I mean, tonally it's different, but just I don't know. I just got a vibe.
there's that parallel of sympathetic white men.
Maybe that's what it is.
That's what you got going on. But I was also really excited and happy to see that you have Ariana Labed in there playing the maid, and there's that sequence of her dancing in the woods, which was just amazing.
Yeah, the quiet dancing.
So ridiculous. I loved her character, and the fact that you also had Angeliki Papalia in there playing the heartless woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, you get the transfer of, you know, actresses that he's worked with prior and moving them over to the English language debut and seeing them kill it.
Yes, yeah.
It's just great. I thought the only thing was the loner portion. I thought it lost me a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's so funny you mentioned that, because the same thing happened to me where I was absolutely in love with this movie, and then at one point during that loner thing, it wasn't right at the it was like in the middle portion of the loner area, that I was like, oh no. Like when they were kind of like devising their capers and stuff like that, I was like, oh no, this is like it felt different. Like the movie felt like it was gonna be going down a different path, and I was like, but it recorrected.
Yeah, it loses a little bit of its steam there for a while, but still, even there's small little scenes that you can just tell the amount of thought that went into like realizing this world. And kind of what I'm thinking about is when they go into the city.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They're at the mall or whatever, and there's that woman that is getting questioned by the police.
Yeah, and checked, and they check her shoes and her hands, and yes, it is interesting because they, like I said, he doesn't explain a lot about this world. You just figure out the rules of it, and I appreciate that.
But there's so much that is brought up and just kind of hinted at.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you wonder even more. Like, I want to know all the rules to this world. I want to be in this world more, and I want to know all the rules and what happens, because it's very intriguing to me.
Yeah, agreed. All right, any final thoughts on The Lobster?
Surprisingly, really, really funny.
Yes.
In an extremely subtle way. But God,
it's certainly a dry humor. John C. Reilly, he just makes me laugh. There were times in this movie where he wasn't even saying anything, and I laughed.
No, I was laughing hysterically when I think it's the first time they go for a hunt, and you know, occasionally he'll go into the slow-mo camera.
Yeah.
And it was John C. Reilly running through the woods,
just like slow-mo, struggling to get through the woods,
navigating the terrain he was having trouble with, and then of course the interaction with him and Colin Farrell, where Colin Farrell was trying to save himself and be buddy with him and be friends, and then he realizes that that's not working, and then he just completely flips the switch and goes the opposite direction with it. It's just like, poor John C. Reilly, poor guy.
Yeah,
he's not gonna make it.
No.
End up some kind of animal. I forget what animal he picked.
Did they even say what animal?
I
remember they were having a conversation about it at the Target.
Yeah, because he said and the limping man got really irritated with him.
Oh, a parrot.
A parrot, yes. The one animal that can talk.
Yeah.
Or one of the animals that can
talk. He
talk.
said you're still going to have a lisp as a parrot.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. And that just reminded me of his masturbating problem.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. I think that scene was when you realize, like, oh, these people aren't messing around.
No, they're not. They take it very, very seriously. Which, again, it, like, just adds to the absurdity of it all. Because it's inherently absurd.
Of course, yeah.
The lengths that you're going to go to.
Yeah.
And then the people's interest in it as well just adds to it. And then, the way how you kind of get judged depending on where you are at certain points in your life.
Although I think it is a little unfair that you would be forced into it even if your husband or wife dies. Like, I don't think that they should force widows and widowers back into another, relationship, because some people don't want that. Like that they
No, but you gotta think of it from the viewpoint of like people around them, because that kind of thing of like, oh, you gotta move on, you have to find someone else, you gotta get back out there. And it's like, why is it such of interest to you? Like, why do you care so much?
Well, I guess because people attribute that with happiness, and they want, their loved ones to be happy.
Yeah. It's really weird, because I'm thinking of like my own life, the number of times that I'm accosted and questioned about, essentially interrogated, really, some people, like, when are you gonna have kids? Like, I'm like harassed into like, you should have kids.
Yeah.
And like, people tried to sell the idea to me. Like, my dad at one point, he didn't do a really good job, because the way he sold it was, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It's like when I bought my house, it's a 3-bedroom house.
Nursery.
The immediate question, and out of everyone's mouth, does that mean you guys are thinking of having kids? Huh? Is that where you're headed? Is that what you guys are thinking about? I mean, I have people at work that are like, they've constantly asked me, when are you having kids? And they'll get mad when I'm like, I'm not, I don't want kids. They get mad at me, and it's like, why? Why do you care?
Because we need to repopulate the earth. We need to repopulate the species. We don't have enough people.
It's so bizarre to me. Like, you're going to be dead in like 40 years. What do you care if there's like more people or not?
It's true.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's true. What'd you think of one other thing I wanted to mention was the voiceover. What did you think of that? Rachel Weisz doing some narration.
I wasn't the biggest fan of it, I'll be honest. But I also didn't hate it like I usually do, because the writing of it is just so bizarre and absurd. And there was some humor in there.
Yeah, it almost has a kind of a storybook vibe to it.
Yes,
the way that she's narrating it.
And it is very interesting that you're not, because I didn't know how she plays into the story. So it's like towards the beginning, and I'm like, who is she? Like, what?
Oh,
is she just like a narrator, and I mean, like, the further along it goes, you kind of figure it out of who she is and where she's coming from and everything. But in the beginning, I was just like, what? I don't quite understand this voiceover narration going on here.
Yeah.
So that was enough too, the way that it was kind of handled at the beginning, that I was trying to figure it out along with the rules of this entire world.
Well, I knew where she played in because of the trailer. It seemed.
I didn't see I didn't see no trailer.
Didn't see no trailer. All right, let's give The Lobster a score. I'm gonna score The Lobster an 8 out of 10.
Oh boy, I'm gonna give it like a 9.5.
Whoa!
I'm a fan of this one, and it was one of those things that like immediately when I was done, I was like, I need to watch that again.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it again.
Yep. By the end of the year, my score for that may increase, because I'll probably watch it again and may have to give it a bump. All right, that's The Lobster. Is that on VOD? I don't think it is. I want to say no. I don't think that is available on VOD. It's playing in select cities this week. Let's move on. Talk about Killzone 2.
Killzone 2.
This is directed by Pusoi Chang. Stars Tony Jaa.
Tony Jaa.
There's some other recognizable figures in this as well. Who specifically is it? No, Simon Yam. A lot of people will probably recognize Simon Yam because he was in like PTU, he was in Ip Man, he was in the Tomb Raider movie.
Okay.
He's in a lot of stuff. He was the older cop, the uncle. He was the uncle.
Yeah.
All right, I got a synopsis here. Oh wait, hold on, I gotta click the stupid button. All right, this is a long one, so I may abbreviate.
Oh boy.
Undercover cop Kit becomes a junkie in order to catch Mr. Hung, the mastermind behind a crime syndicate. When the operation goes sour and Kit blows his cover, his supervisor and uncle Wah decides to terminate the operation. When Kit disappears without a trace, Wah defies the order from his commanding officer and tracks Kit to a prison in Thailand. This is not a good synopsis. This doesn't really describe what's going on at all. So I think that we'll just talk about it and kind of give it our own little synopsis here. The thing that's interesting. Well, you can go ahead and start it off, Kevin. What did you think of Killzone 2?
Killzone 2 was surprising, I will say. I went into this thinking like, okay, what I'm gonna get. My expectation is that the fighting, the set pieces, the choreography will probably kind of be like the highlight.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's just a lot of it's going to be me sitting around twiddling my thumbs waiting for the next fight scene.
Yeah.
Because the story, I'm sure, is probably But it was surprising to see that the story was it's pretty damn good, I thought.
Well, what I was going to say was the interesting thing about this is that I feel like the story almost takes precedent over the fight scenes because I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's way more story than fight scenes in this.
Oh yeah, and it takes forever to get to that first fight scene.
Yeah, I mean they really take their time with setting this up. But when you look at the plot, this is a complex. There's like connections for days in this. Like everything is connected to everything. And I think that's an interesting aspect of the movie, but it's also, I think, a problem because some of the stuff is just like, all right, now what are the odds?
Yeah,
it's like
there's deals. There's a shit ton of coincidences that it kind of pile it on a bit too much, but it is definitely a time for consequences.
It is.
I will give you that. I mean, everyone's actions. There's so many ramifications to every single action, but the most interesting portion to me was the way that they set up these characters is I wasn't, when you're dealing with most martial arts movies, you have your hero and he never deviates from doing the heroic act. Like you're never thinking like, oh, is he actually going to help this person? You just know it, it just,
right.
And it just follows that path the whole way to the end. And it's just, he's always doing the right thing. But there's a lot of instances in this movie where Tony Jaa's character, where you're not 100% sure if he's actually going to do the right thing.
Yeah. Right.
And he's put in a lot of predicaments where he's got to try and decide what choice to make. And then they'll kind of like leave it up in the air where you're not sure.
Yeah.
If he's actually being the hero right now.
Right. There's a lot of like kind of morally gray things that are happening in this movie. Like, because you have to look at it from his perspective. So basically he plays a prison guard. And his daughter has, I don't know, she has an illness that requires a bone marrow transplant. This movie's all about this movie's all about basically organ trafficking.
Yes, which is, it starts off really fucking dark.
Oh yeah,
like
there is some really dark stuff in this movie. There's some. I was surprised because I haven't seen a lot of Tony Jaa stuff, but normally his movies are pretty, light and more on the Jackie Chan level of things. But this is this movie's violent, very violent, and
extremely dark.
The whole like human organ trafficking thing is it's pretty grim.
Yeah, keeping people in drawers.
So, but anyway, so he needs a bone marrow transplant for his daughter. So that's what's propelling him through this. And as it turns out, the detective that I mentioned in the bad synopsis is a match. He is the donor, which they don't know at first. They don't know that they are a match.
Yeah.
And they don't find that out until much later in the movie. But Tony Jaa comes to find out that the warden is working for this other guy that the detective was trying to bring down, this
And
cartel leader.
That leader, he needs a heart transplant.
And he needs a heart transplant, and he's trying to steal his brother's heart. So there's just all these crazy connections in this movie,
yeah, and it's just all kind of ridiculous because they all have this extremely rare blood type, and I forget what the odds are, but it makes it like
at first he says
impossible.
I don't. There was a subtitle thing going on with that because the first time he says it, he says 1 in a million, and then the second time he says it, he says 1 in 10 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was accurate.
And it's one of those things that you're trying to like. Kind of what we touched upon earlier. It's like, okay, so this is super rare blood type. All of these people they all happen to know each other and be connected.
Well, the only two people that have it are him and his brother.
I thought it was the same for the kid and the guy. I thought they had the same thing going on. I could be wrong.
No, I think that they just needed, they were just a regular match for the bone marrow.
I guess, but you would think that there would be someone in Thailand. They would have it, not a Hong Kong policeman. Well, that would seem really rare.
I don't know. I guess it just has to do with the donor list and all of that.
I don't know. But anyway,
either way,
it takes forever to get to the first fight scene, and then the first fight scene is between Tony Jaa and what's that guy's name? Wu Chang.
Mm-hmm.
So the first fight's between the good guys,
the two good guys,
and you're just like, wait, what?
Well, you don't even, at that point, you don't even know. Like, I didn't even know that he was going to be one of the main characters. Not Tony Jaa, but the other guy.
But you could definitely tell, because the way it was set up for me was like, okay, Tony Jaa's a bad guy. Because everything that leads up to that, you know that this guy he's in the prison under false pretense. You know, they're kind of setting this guy up. They're fucking him over. He's a policeman. And then Tony Jaa kicks the shit out of him. And you're like, okay, wait.
Well, not only that, but he also takes money from the warden.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of gray area in this movie where you're not 100% sure what side people are on.
Yeah.
Except for like the really evil people, they don't really deviate. They're just evil.
Yeah, you know the warden is always going to be a piece of shit, and the guy that needs the heart.
And I mean the way that they set up that warden too, because out of nowhere, that guy is a martial arts master.
Yeah, he wrecks it.
He just completely caught me off guard. I was like, damn, he's doing that in a suit too. Shit.
Yeah, he wrecks it. I mean, let's talk about the big thing, the fights. I mean, this is a martial arts movie. You come into it for the fights.
You want them fights.
Let's talk about it. I thought that they were good. I thought that some of the set pieces were incredible. The scene where Tony Jaa drives the bus through the wall, I was like, holy shit, that was awesome. And I liked a lot of this stuff. I like the fact that this is a movie that blends different martial arts styles, because you have Tony Jaa with his Muay Thai, and then I'm guessing, I'm not good enough with spotting different martial arts styles, but I'm guessing that the Chinese guys were some sort of kung fu. But I like the fact that the fights look differently, you know what I mean? Like they weren't all just using the same style.
Yeah.
And I liked that.
You got some weapon play in there too.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely on the more kind of fantastical side of martial arts stuff. Like there is some wire work in here, like some.
Yeah, which that was the only thing that kind of got me, because the way that was incorporated, it stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, because it doesn't happen a lot. And
it's not blended in too well. Like the execution of those effects they're not that great. And I mean, they stick out as soon as you're really into it, and then all of a sudden there's the wire work, and you're just like, oh.
There was like one scene. It was like one of the big culminating fight scenes at the end in the like, what is that? In like an office building, the big white office.
Oh yeah, and the
penthouse or whatever.
Yeah, the penthouse.
There was I can't even remember what it was specifically, but there was some wire stunt that they did there that impressed me. But for the most part, yeah, could have probably done without the wire work. Thankfully, it's not used very much. I mean, it's all pretty much. I'm sure that some of the stunts in the prison were done using wires, and those were impressive. So yeah, I think that the best use of wire work is when you can't tell that it's even.
Oh yeah.
And I think that probably some of those things, because it looked like those dudes were just free falling from like the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
And that scene when he's standing on the table that's like pinned in the on like the rail and he falls. I liked that scene. I thought that was shot really.
The fact that you had that big set piece of this is essentially this prison riot breaks out. You have the martial arts fighting in the midst of that, and then the cinematography for this is just like a free floating camera.
Right. It's very much like The Raid. The style of it felt a lot like The Raid, where the camera is just constantly moving and trying to find the best positions to show the action. And I love that method.
And I gotta say, for the most part, the filming of the action was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was top notch.
And the editing of it.
Yeah.
And then the choreography is just, because that first fight scene is just close. It's in a small room, hand-to-hand combat between Tony Jaa and Wu Zhang. And oh my goodness, I just want to watch that forever.
I mean, it's the top notch. It's a lot of the fight scenes and stuff are just top notch in this. There's not a lot of them, but when they hit, I mean, especially that the big final one towards the end. I mean, there's some crazy stuff that happens. I love the one scene that the one dude, he was like a mini boss, the guy that had the knives. And that one scene where he does the flip, and as he's doing the flip, he's running the knife around the guy's finger and it knocks his finger off. I was like, that's crazy.
Oh, and he tries to switch the gun to the other hand before he comes back with the knife. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's some really, really cool shit that happens in this movie.
What Wu Jing does in the final fight with a wet t-shirt.
Yes.
I mean, give me a break.
He uses a magazine in the one scene too.
Yes, it's fucking awesome. Fucking love it. It was kind of a bummer because, they kind of team up on the Zhang, the boss, the 3-piece suit kicking the shit out of everyone. And he fucking wrecks them.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, there's no way they're going to beat this guy because he's fucking unstoppable.
Yep.
But yeah, the fights are they're amazing. And then everything in between that is pretty fantastic as well. They do take it to an extreme with some of the stuff that's going on, but the execution of it and the way that they handle it.
Right. And that's the surprising thing is that, like, this is actually a genuinely intriguing movie. Like, you actually care about what's going on and how all these pieces are fitting together, and like you want Kit to figure out that he's the donor, and then there's like a twist that they add in with that.
Yeah,
that kind of messes things up even more, and you're like, what? Because
there's consequences, man.
There is.
There's time for consequences. That wolf was a little sketchy. The
wolf was extremely sketchy.
It seemed odd to put that in there.
The first time they put it in, it's a dream sequence, so I was like, okay, well, that's okay. And I don't know if the second time could have been. I guess it could have been not real.
It's just like a manifestation type deal.
Yeah, I think so. But
either way, my favorite thing about these martial arts movies, and this happens in The Raid a lot too. Well, here's the first thing: is I got to catch up on so much stuff because I just forgot how much I love these types of movies.
Yeah,
they're just so fun to watch. Like when I watch these fight scenes, like I can't breathe. I get so like tensed up because I'm just so into it, and just watching them block attacks. It's just so thrilling to me. Like I don't even need them to land punches or kicks or anything. Just blocking stuff is just the coolest thing ever. And then you have Tony Jaa with his fucking flying knees.
The knees
like,
and
all over
the knees and elbows.
He's just flying through the air. It's just ridiculous. But the thing that I love is they'll fight, where they team up and they fight like 14 guys at the same time. And they're catching like all the kicks and punches, and they're dislocating every single joint in your body. and breaking bones.
Oh yeah.
And then how like a little bit of time passes and then they're all standing again.
Yeah.
It's just like
They
apparently
recovered.
that had no effect on them whatsoever. Someone came in within that like 5-minute period, relocated all those joints, and got those guys ready to go.
Yep.
And we just go through it again, and they just get dislocated all over again in various ways, and it's fantastic to watch.
Well, I'll tell you, the knife guy didn't get up after his his thing. I don't know if there was any gonna be any recovering available for that.
No, and it also has another one of those. I'm trying to decide if this one is worse than the John Wick one, where a guy gets stabbed and he stares him down.
Oh yeah,
he's
the slow stab.
Yeah, he's just that is an intense stabbing.
It reminds me of the scene in Saving Private Ryan where what's his name? Adam Goldberg?
Yeah, I think that
when he's in the one house and the Nazi comes in, he has that like hand to hand fight with the Nazi and slowly stab. That was
just staring people down as he stabbed them with such force. That's some cold shit.
Yep,
it's cold.
Yeah, Killzone 2, I definitely would recommend it. I'm not the biggest fan of Tony Jaa, his movies. I find him to be a slightly uncharismatic character in most of his movies, and I don't particularly like his fighting style a whole lot. But in this one, it worked because it didn't feel like Ong Bak or one of his other movies where it was like, this is his movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This felt like this was just an action movie that he was in.
No, and that was the problem with Ong Bak in this. Like, the biggest problem with those films is it didn't seem like they were able to blend the fighting set pieces into a film. It was just like, here's a shitty film, and then all of a sudden, fighting showcase, and you're just like, this seems really...
Yeah, I mean...
there's like a huge disconnect here.
Those movies to me feel like skate videos or something where, they have some other stuff and then they get back to the skating. Then they do some other crap and then they get back to the skating. It's like the same... Or porn. That would also be a good comparison.
That is actually a good comparison.
Yeah, I mean that's what those other earlier Tony Jaa movies. This is not like that. This is actually a compelling has a compelling narrative to it.
Yeah, and I didn't think he was actually too bad.
No, I thought he was fine, which was again a surprise to me.
But it immediately. Well, it wasn't even immediate. I think it was like after the second fight scene. My thought was, okay, I have to watch all of these people's movies. I have to watch any movie that it's martial arts. I have to watch it.
I think we should probably also watch Killzone 1.
Killzone 1 might be a good idea.
Should be noted that neither of us have seen the original Killzone. The first one was with Donnie Yen. So
yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, I need to see some more Wu Jing movies. I mean, there's so much that I've missed over the years. I didn't know. I just didn't know.
Oh, we just have to have our yearly Asian movie roundup where we watch like 10 of them in a row and then do a show about it.
I can't wait.
That's typically what I do with Asian cinemas. I let them pile up and then I watch them all at once.
Just gorge on that shit. Yeah, because I immediately jumped on YouTube and was just like, Tony Jaa fight scenes.
Yeah. Well, I still say that is the best way to watch Ong Bak is just the fight scenes. Just not the fight scenes, but more that movie is more about the whole free running those scenes.
It's just him double knee through windows.
Yeah, he does that in this movie. For all you Tony Jaa fans,
straight through the windshield.
He does go through a windshield of a bus.
He's like, fuck that, knees.
His knees and elbows must be so jacked up.
Dude, I don't know. Just imagining the noises that they make when he goes upstairs.
I know.
If he can go upstairs.
Yeah.
He's got to be using elevators everywhere he goes.
All right. What are you going to give Killzone 2 out of 10?
I'm going to give Killzone 2 an 8.5.
Wow, that's strong.
Plus you get these Tony Jaa ice skate terribly.
Oh my god, that scene was so awful. I was like, what is going on? If that felt very Jackie Chan-esque to me.
Yes.
I'm going to give Killzone 2 I'll give it a solid 7. I'll give it 7.5. Somewhere in between there.
Huh.
Killzone 2 is available now on VOD, so you can check it out. All right, let's move on and talk about some of what we've been watching. Kevin, start with you this week.
Okay. I watched Mistress America.
Bombak.
A little Bombak action.
Bombak.
And I realized something because I enjoyed Mistress America. And I realized that, co-written by Gerwig. And I know that she co-wrote Fantasy, another one that I liked. So I checked. The only other Bombak movie I liked that he directed, talking about ones he directed here, was Greenberg, which was co-written with Jennifer Jason Leigh. So all the Bombaks that are co-written with an actress, I like. All the ones that he wrote himself, like While We're Young, The Squid and the Whale, Kicking and Screaming, I hated those. It's just something I noticed. I don't know what that means.
It's an interesting observation.
Yeah, like when Bombak flies solo, I don't like him. I just don't like him. But if he's got a collaborator, I'm in.
I like Squid and the Whale, but I think that's the only one that I saw that's not co-written.
Now, Kicking and Screaming, his first movie was co-written, but it was co-written with another male. So I don't know if it's having the
female voice in there.
The female collaborator in there helps it out. Now, I imagine it definitely helped out with Mistress America because it's a film about two females and the relationship together, being friends, sisters to be. The parents are getting married to each other. They're in New York City, hanging out. Gerwig and Lola Kirk. And their characters are the rich characters. There's so much depth to them, and just watching them interact is fantastic. Now, the plot that they find themselves in is kind of because it's like her trying to get money or Gerwig trying to get money for this restaurant that she wants to open up, and she has all these ideas. She never follows through on them. And Lola Kirk is an aspiring writer, and she's kind of gleaning information from her, hanging out with her, and using it for characters in her stories. And so the plot itself isn't that great. I mean, outside of it providing the conflicts of intent and loyalty that end up cropping up between the two. But the real highlight is just watching these two interact. And it's a good amount of comedy in there. It's not laugh out loud funny, but it's enough subtle humor in there. I gotta say that, man, because he came out with 2 last year, this and While We're Young. And I don't know why While We're Young played around here and Mistress America didn't, because Mistress America is leaps and bounds better than While We're Young. Because While We're Young shouldn't even been released. That was just garbage. That was absolute garbage.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so.
Don't ever see it. I'm telling you right now. Don't waste your time. If you think about seeing it, see Mistress America instead.
All right. Well, I will do that.
Yes.
Is this on Netflix now?
On a DVD.
Cool. Get on Netflix DVD. You still do that. I think you're one of the only people in the world.
I'm single-handedly keeping the U.S. Postal Service in business. I gotta say the Netflix DVD, their whole system is it's fucked. It doesn't make any sense. I have my queue and everything, and it won't say anything they don't have the DVD or that there's a long wait or anything, but they'll send me number 6, and it's just what the fuck? What happened to the other 5 movies before? I didn't want this movie.
I remember it used to be at the beginning. It used to be really good.
Oh yeah, and then it won't say anything, and I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to get this fucking movie. It's gonna be great.
Because I remember we were back in the day. We were really early adopters of Netflix.
Oh yeah, we were on that shit as soon as it came out. Because I can't remember if did we do Netflix before Netflix?
I think it was around the same time. Because I remember we had all of them. We had Netflix, Nitchflix, and then we also had the Blockbuster one too.
Oh yeah,
where you could, it was unlimited rentals at Blockbuster.
Oh, we wasted so much money on movies.
I know, and I remember because we both had subscriptions. I think you were the only one that had the subscription to Nitchflix, but
which was awesome.
But both of us had Netflix and the Blockbuster thing, so we could get we would have 4 movies basically
at any
at
given
any
time.
given time.
And then we still made trips to Hollywood Video.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why we did that. We just couldn't wait.
There was just I mean that was a really I mean, when I look back, that was a really influential time for me. Like,
well, yeah, because we also did a lot of our paychecks went to either blind buying Asian movies off of eBay,
yeah,
or blind buying Criterions.
Yep, a lot of blind buys.
We just spent so much money.
No, but that was when like my passion for movies just went full bore. Like I always liked movies. I always considered myself a movie lover. But once we really started diving in, that was a game changer.
Game changer. Skipping school.
Yep.
Fuck school. We got movies to watch.
Yep. The only movie that I saw this week, like I mentioned, I've been playing a lot of Uncharted 4. Great game, by the way. For any of you still on the fence about it, by this point, I'm sure that most of you already have it if you were thinking about getting it. Fantastic game. Highly recommended. I'm taking my time with it. It's a longer game, but it's the final chapter in the series. So I'm like, I think it's 25 chapters, and I'm on like maybe 12 or something, 10 or 12. But anyway, fantastic game. Highly recommend it. The movie that I saw this week is one that's not out yet. It's going to be out soon. I'll try to look up the release date on this. It's a documentary called Tickled. Now, this is premiered at Sundance, and it is a documentary about a journalist who he kind of specializes in just weird stories, like weird sports and things like that. And he discovers that there is a competitive tickling scene that's happening. So he's like, what is this competitive tickling? So he starts doing some research on it, and he decides to reach out to the organizers of this competitive tickling. It's a company by the name of Jane O'Brien Media, and he gets this email back that says, like, basically, we did some research on you, and we found out that you're a homosexual, and we don't want to associate this with any kind of homosexual behavior, deviant behavior, and like just ripping him apart. And then he starts getting multiple emails about this. He publishes the article anyway. It gets a lot of traction. And then he gets sued, and he gets like all these threats emailed to him. And whereas the documentary starts off about competitive tickling, it evolves into something completely different. And this is under embargo, so I can't really talk about my specific thoughts on it just yet. But I would say,
it sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah. Keep this on your radar. I'll say that. I will have a review up. This comes out June 17th. So
this is one of those instances where I'm like, I want to Google search professional tickling, but at the same time, I don't want that in my computer.
Yeah. You don't. But it also may end up, if you did something like that, it may end up giving away portions of this, and this is one you want to go into cold, trust me.
Yeah, well, you got me with professional tickling.
It is.
Do you really need to do that much more to sell a movie?
Yeah, this is an extremely bizarre movie.
Sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah. But again, it's called Tickled, comes out June 17th. I will circle back and talk about it in more detail once the embargo lifts.
Hey, we talked about Ryan Coogler earlier, and I watched Creed. This was I only saw the first Rocky, right? I'm not like a big Rocky guy, and I don't really know anything about Rocky. So there was numerous times where in this movie I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, this is a Rocky movie. And everything just was kind of bizarre to me until I realized, like, oh yeah, that's right, it's a Rocky movie. I had to keep telling myself that throughout. Much like Mistress America, the whole plot of this movie was generally uninteresting to me. Like it did nothing for me. just did absolutely nothing. And the boxing bits, all the boxing scenes they were okay. They're like meh. And I think that this is the problem that I have with boxing is it's such a boring sport, and there's not a whole lot you can do with like choreographing boxing.
I think it was
It's not.
I think
It's not like not.
I think Raging Bull did it best.
Yeah, but think about it, like what can you really do?
You just
It's
have
just it's fists.
Yeah, I mean
It's
what it comes down to is how creatively and stylistically can you shoot that, you know?
Which, and I will say this, they do a pretty damn good job because there's a surprising amount of long takes in here that I wasn't quite ready for. I wasn't expecting, which I thought added to it. It kind of dressed it up a little bit, made it a little bit more interesting. But, and it's funny to me because these movies, there's this, it's like they know that boxing is like really boring. Because if it played out like a real boxing match, it would be defensive boxing for like an hour, and it would just be boring as shit with like
Yeah, because that's
five
usually
punches
how it turns
landed.
out.
Yeah, and it's just like them hugging for like 45 minutes. So it's just it's kind of funny to me that they spend so much time on Michael B. Jordan just working out, working with Padman, doing the jump rope and doing the jog and all this stuff, all everything that goes into it. And then the final fight just devolves into two guys just pummeling the shit out of each other. Just a barrage of fists to the face. There's no technique whatsoever. It's just brutal and I guess exciting but to me it just the only thing that it really captures is the dullness and repetition of boxing. It's just two guys just hitting each other in the face. Just rapid, just going at it. And you're just like, this is silly. This is really silly. Like you're just hitting it like there's no technique. There's no like there's no defense. It's just two guys just leaving themselves completely open and just hitting each other in the face over and over again. And I don't know why, but after a while I just thought it was hilarious. But I will say this, the relationship that you see with Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson, I love that part of the film. Like that was like a completely like anytime that it maneuvered into that aspect, it was like a completely different film. And I loved their chemistry together, and I actually wanted more of that. And then when it got back to the boxing stuff, like the lead up to the fights and stuff, I thought were pretty great. You know, the long takes of him like working out backstage, and then like the walk up out and everything. But that last fight is just those two guys hitting each other in the face for entirely too long. Just and then his eye turns into something that should never be on a human's face. You're just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? This is so stupid. This is the dumbest thing I've ever watched. Why are you doing this? But I think that's more so of like my.
I think that just has to do more with your taste.
With boxing. But it's like you can't even do anything with boxing that you take it to this ridiculous like fantasy version of it, and it's still terrible to just watch people punch each other in the face forever. And I'm just like, why would you get into that? Because I can't comprehend it. Like I hate having headaches, and I can't imagine of ever point being in my life like, hey, I'm gonna give myself a headache right now. Like a really, really fucking bad one. Like the worst headache ever.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but
I'm gonna let a guy hit me in the face.
I don't know.
And it was just weird. Then the way that they piled it on with like her having a disability, and then the thing that happens with Sylvester Stallone's Rocky, and it's just it kind of piled it on a bit too much. But overall, it was all right. I just kind of got stuck on the boxing thing, just because I don't comprehend boxing. But that's not the film's fault.
Right. That's Creed. I have not seen this yet. At this point, I probably won't. But
He's like, nah, I'm not doing it.
I don't have anything else, so.
Oh, I have one more, and that's How to Steal a Million from 1966, William Wyler. This is Audrey Hepburn, Peter O'Toole. One of those comedy heist caper type films. Because I essentially wanted something along the lines of Charade, and this came closest to it. Number one thing that always gets me, Peter O'Toole's appearance is disarming to me for some reason. It's just he doesn't look like a person. I don't know what it is. It's like someone adjusted the settings on his face after the fact. Like his eyes just don't match his complexion. It's really weird. Like his eyes are way too blue, and it just freaks me out. So I had to watch that for like 2 hours. Not Peter O'Toole's fault. It's nothing he can do about it. It's fairly light. It's a bit too long. It takes a while for it to settle into it's like this whole heist thing of them working together to steal this work of art. But it is kind of interesting because they get into like forgeries and stuff, and it's got a nice mix of like romance, comedy, the heist action once they get into trying to steal this work of art, and like the ingenuity and everything that goes into their idea and their execution of their plan. But the only real issue that I have with this movie is Audrey Hepburn's character is just entirely too subservient when she's around Peter O'Toole, and it just really just irks me because she turns into this like gelatinous pile of like, I'll do whatever you say. Like she's just like she is smitten beyond belief, where she's just like he's just like get on the floor, and she's just like okay. She gets on the floor, and like the second part of like towards the end of the film, he is literally, I'm not kidding, ushering her around from place to place, just like holding onto her bicep and just like dragging her along. She'll try and like walk up to it, and he'll just grab her and like, no, this way. And he does that for like a full hour straight of where he's like, just put a fucking leash on her. Jesus. It's ridiculous. So I wasn't really a fan. It's one of those things where I couldn't buy into because they kind of, they end up falling in love, everything. And you kind of like rooting for him. And I'm just like, get the fuck away from this guy. Like, come on. Better than that, Hepburn. But it's all right.
All right. What was the name of that again?
How to Steal a Million.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you see this?
This is Play Instant on Netflix.
Okay, cool. All right, let's talk about some predictions, shall we?
Let's do it.
Last week, Money Monster.
Oh boy, watch out.
You said 64, I said 62, actual 56. Yeah. And then The Darkness, you said 37, I said 42, actual 0.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, it got a 0. We have a review for this up on the site. Blake gave it a 3. So, Darkness. Not looking too good for that one. That's a shame, too, because I liked Wolf Creek. I liked Wolf Creek 2. I liked Rogue. So I don't know what happened there. I guess it was the international director coming over to the States.
Must be.
I guess that's what did it. That's unfortunate. Next week we have, in my mind, a big one. One of my most anticipated for the year. The Nice Guys. Shane Black. Very excited for this.
This reminded me that I need to see that...
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Everyone talks about how great that movie. I still haven't watched it.
It is great, and I'll probably rewatch it before this comes out, just because I love that movie and get in the right mood. I'm gonna say 86 on The Nice Guys.
Wow. I'm gonna say.
I'm giving it good vibes.
Okay. I forgot that this was the guy that wrote The Last Boy Scout.
I didn't know it was the guy that... Oh, Shane Black, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say 82.
All right. I think Shane Black also did the Lethal Weapon movies too, didn't he?
Yeah. Last Action Hero.
I like his stuff. He was in Predator, and he's going to be doing the new Predator movie.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
We also have Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. What are you thinking on this one? From what I heard, not great.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would be. This is one of those things where it's like, just do the one comedy and just leave it at that. Like, stop trying to build on comedic worlds.
Yeah.
Like, let's stop it.
It's kind of like, I don't know. Currently it has a 66%, so it looks like it's more mixed. I wasn't the biggest fan of the first one.
I didn't see the first one.
It's okay. I mean, it's not great, but it's all right. I'm sure this one will be funny, but
it'll have its moments, I'm sure.
I don't know. What are you thinking on Neighbors 2?
I'm gonna go 58.
58? All right. I'll say 62 on that. And then finally we have the Angry Birds movie.
What?
There's one part of the trailer that makes me laugh, and it's when the one yellow bird, they fling the yellow bird, and he goes through the castle, and at the end he comes out the other side, and he goes, "It was a house of horrors." That was funny, but that's all it is.
Why is this a thing? Why I don't
Well,
understand.
I feel like he came maybe 3 years too late. First of all,
Well, you have
'cause I
that.
feel like the Angry Birds hype is pretty much over with.
This is one of those types of movies where there should be collectively, everyone should just ignore it. Just ignore it. Don't talk about it. Don't review it. Just act like it doesn't exist. Because
I mean,
there is
who
no
knows?
reason for covering the Angry Birds movie.
I mean, I'm not gonna see it, but it has a pretty strong voice cast. We got Jason Sudeikis, Josh Gad, Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph, Bill Hader, Peter Dinklage, Sean Penn, Keegan Michael Key, Kate McKinnon, Hannibal Buress,
It's still
Tony Hale,
It's Angry Birds.
Jillian Bell. Wow.
It's a game where you throw birds or you launch birds. I don't know. I never played Angry Birds. I don't know what it
You
is.
launch them.
You launched them? Is it like that old game where you would have to like figure out your trajectory
Yeah. It's like a
and shit?
physics. Yeah, it's a physics
And they're just like,
based
"Ooh,
game.
make it cute birds."
Yeah, I mean the game. There's nothing original about the game whatsoever. It's been done a million times before that,
Yeah,
but for
I
some
can't
reason it was just really
remember what.
popular.
Wow,
I'll say 58 on Angry Birds.
I'm gonna say 38.
All right. In limited release next week, we have, let's look, The Measure of a Man. We have Wiener, the documentary about Anthony Weiner. We have a movie called Margarita with a Straw. Not familiar with that one.
Margarita with a straw.
Yeah. One called Maggie's Plan, Manhattan Night, also known as Manhattan Nocturne,
Okay.
with Adrian Brody. Terrible poster. Penelope Cruz in Mama. Almost Holy, which was also known as Crocodile Gennady, which I saw at Tribeca last year. Good stuff. Really good documentary. Highly recommend it. Currently has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I would definitely recommend it. It'll probably be one of my top documentaries of the year. Welcome to Happiness, which I saw at Dances with Films last year, I want to say. That's an interesting one. Kind of a dramatic comedy, but it's got this kind of Charlie Kaufman-esque, or maybe even a Wes Anderson-esque vibe to it.
Okay.
It's interesting. Hard Sell, that doesn't look very good. And that's it. So basically, check out Nice Guys and Almost Holy. But Almost Holy is going to be available on... Is it going to be available on VOD? Actually, I don't have it on my list here, so I'm not sure that it will be available on VOD. Next week on VOD, we do have Divine Access that comes out on Tuesday. And then Friday, we have Song of Lahore, We the People, Welcome to Happiness, Manhattan Night, Hard Sell, and The Damned. So solid VOD list next week. I'll be checking out The Damned. It's a rockumentary about the punk band The Damned.
Watch out.
I would give a light recommend to Welcome to Happiness, and yeah, those would be the two that I would recommend on VOD. Blu-ray next week. This is for May 17th. We got The Witch. I will have a Blu-ray review of that up. Hopefully by the time you hear this. Let's see. Dirty Grandpa. Oh God, what an awful cover. Freaking Robert De Niro with his pants down around his ankles. Like he probably looks at that and he's like, what have I become? It's terrible. Dementia, which was a interesting thriller. I think I have a review for that up on the site. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, not a whole lot going on here. Assassination Classroom, Season 1, Part 1, Limited Edition Blu-ray.
Oh boy. Watch out.
Pretty much it. Arrow is releasing Hired to Kill from 1990, which has me kind of interested. What do we got on the old Criterion front?
Yeah, we got one Criterion, 1960. The Naked Island, Nito Shindo,
Hmm.
which sounds really interesting. Documentary, like dialogue-free. Family lives on a tiny remote island. They must row a great distance to another shore, collect water from a well in buckets, and row back to their island.
All right.
Apparently, it's got a phenomenal modernist score. It's a hypnotic experience. Is how Criterion's trying to sell that one.
Okay. All right.
But one of the weird things is one of the I don't know why this is weird to me, but one of the special features is a new appreciation of the film by Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
But apparently he's a big fan of it.
Okay. All right. Strange. All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page at patreon.com/FilmPulse and consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson, and we will see you next week.